What is up? I am TJ. This is Uncommon, and so are you. Hey guys, welcome to this week's edition of Uncommon Live. If you're like most of America, you've experienced pretty much all the weather in 1 week. If you're in Texas, you probably have swung from 1 degree to 70 in about a 3 or 4 day span. So our prayers go out to Texas and Oklahoma and everybody else out there who is dealing with all the snow that has fell on that region. So the Mid-South, I guess you'd say it. So if you're new to Uncommon, we step in here on a Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time every week, and we talk about topics around husbands, dads, and leaders. And so this week we're talking about the topics of dads. And so before we get there, I want to take and give you some updates on a few things, do a little shout out on something that took place last week. So if you are new to our sessions, a great way to get involved with the ministry is to purchase a Uncommon membership. It's $25 a year. The link is in the description. You can check it out, full of content, always adding to the features of the plan. So check that out. We just recently launched our Uncommon app. And if you've already downloaded that, then you probably just got a notification about 5 minutes ago that we were going live today. So we're going to be using our app a lot more in that capacity. Free to download, free to use, full of content as well. And so be sure to check that out. I think it hasn't even been a month yet that the app has been out, and it feels like it's always been there. Another thing we started the first of this year, is we have a monthly virtual Bible study. And that happens on the last Tuesday of every month at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we just had our one for February this past Tuesday. So it was a great time to get that information. All you got to do is sign up for our newsletter. And a week or two before the event, we will pass out the Zoom link for you to attend. And it's a great time. We only do about an hour to respect everybody's time, but we've had good attendance January and February. And so last Friday, I had a chance to get interviewed on a podcast called Last in Line Leadership by John Shibley. And he and I had a great time. It was almost an hour episode. And we talked about just leadership in general. They have a great ministry over there, and I'll put the link to that podcast here in the comments. And so John is a great guy, and I don't say that just because he's also a Saints fan, but it did not help. You know what I'm saying? So we had a great time just fellowshipping. He was in Texas as well. I think he was in Houston. And so he looked like he had turned the corner on a lot of the issues that were taking place, but it was a great time. And so I wanted to do a little shout out to that ministry called Last in Line Leadership. Be sure to check that out. So if you are attending today's session, I see we've got a couple people logged in here. Make a comment. Let me know where you're from. And we'll chat along the way. So don't just watch, take part in this as well. So this week, I'm doing what that great theologian Banksy said: good designers copy, great designers steal. So I was talking to a friend of mine, Robert Ferrari, and he was telling me about the great Tony Evans did a sermon on lowering the rim and what that meant. And so as soon as he said it, I knew I was going to steal the concept right from the jump. So here's a shout out to Tony Evans. Thank you for the inspiration and Robert, thank you for sharing that story with me. So let's see. Nick Taylor from Lima, Ohio. Welcome to the session, bro. Thanks for joining us. We're excited about this week's episode because I think we all can relate to this. Even though it's a dad-specific piece, I think we all can relate to this in some fashion. So the title of it is Dads, Have We Lowered the Rim so that everybody gets a slam dunk? And so the question related to this would be, do we need to raise the rim or the bar back to where it's supposed to be? The story goes like this. A dad had some young children who wanted to play basketball. So he purchased a basketball goal, set it up for them. Obviously, it was too high because the children were like around that 5 to 7 range. And so he lowered the rim so that they could then play on the goal. And then as time progressed, he would raise the bar, raise the rim. So what happened was, like a good dad, he went out there and started playing with them. And he noticed that, man, it was really easy to slam dunk on this rim. Even to the point of he had forgotten that the rim had been lowered over time. And even to the point where when he did raise it up, he may have not have raised it up enough and got used to that height. Even though it was higher than before, it was much lower than where it should have been at that 10-foot mark. And if you've ever seen a rim at a lower height and started playing with it, you tend to forget that it's at that height until you try to like maybe dunk on it or get close to it. And then if you've ever adjusted it to put it at that 10-foot level, you kind of stand back and go, is that where it's supposed to be? It looks way too tall. So we tend to skew our perspective. And this is a great illustration that we tend to lower the bar in many areas of our life, and we get used to that height. We get used to things happening maybe a little easier than they should be. And we do not ever remember or want to adjust that bar, or in this case, the rim, back to where it's supposed to be. So I heard this story and I'm like, well, that is a great analogy for every guy out there, whether it be dads or not. And so I started doing some research on this. And so I always ran across this quote, and it's hard to trust quotes anymore. Between Benjamin Franklin and Abraham Lincoln, they have seemed to have said everything that is quoted, right? Whether it's accurate or not. But this one I've ran across several times in research over the years. And so I think it is accurate by, of all people, Michelangelo. And it says, the greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. Have we adjusted the bar in our lives, in our walk with Christ, in our parenting, in our role as husbands, leaders? Have we adjusted it so low that we are missing the mark, or we are exceeding it and it's too easy? Maybe we need to adjust our perspective of where our aim should be. And as a pro tip, just because you may have had an example of a dad, like say your dad did these things, whether they were good, bad, or in between, doesn't mean that we can't be a better version of where we are. So how can we adjust the rim, per se, to benefit not only ourselves, but our children as well? So went through and I kind of did some research around this topic in the Bible, as well as just other Christian ministries, and put together a little list as we do each week with some suggestions. And so we're going to roll through these. First one is be active in your faith. All these are meant to help us readjust that rim back to where it's supposed to be. And if the rim is already at 10 foot and you're nailing this, perfect. Congratulations, amen, and keep pressing. But if you're like other guys who may have adjusted the rim or let that rim slip a little bit and need to readjust the perspective, this list is for you and I. So the first one is be active in our faith. Set an example. Remember, this is from a dad's perspective. Set an example where we don't fall in the do as I say, not as I do kind of motif. Be active in your faith. Be that example because your kids are watching. Attend church together. This shows the value of worshiping and fellowshipping together in the community, in your other congregation. Tithing. This shows your children the value of money and where it comes from. Remember, the kids who asked the dad to adjust this rim in this analogy were looking for him to possibly adjust it back to where it was when needed. So they look to us as dads in many of these, if not all of these areas. The next one is love their mother. And I've heard this to be the number one thing you can do for your kids is love their mother. Show her honor and respect. Serve the family. Work and keep that garden, Adam. We just talked about this in our Bible study this past Tuesday. Adam was in charge or commanded to work and keep that garden. We have a role and responsibility of several things. One of them is being a provider. There is no place for a lazy dad. The next one, pray. Lead your family in prayer often. Many times they look to you to be that driving force when they don't feel like maybe going to church, or if they don't feel like they need to pray. Our role is to help encourage them to do so. The next one is speech. Watch how we speak to others. There's a movie called 42 about Jackie Robinson, and I've done this before in other lives. There's a scene, dad's talking to his son in the stands of the game and about how much great time they're going to have together today, just enjoying the game, the weather, hot dogs, just time together, fellowshipping, that type thing. And then all of a sudden, Jackie Robinson comes out of the dugout and the dad stands up and starts yelling racial slurs at Jackie Robinson. And the son looks at his dad and sees him start to do this, and then stands up and starts to mimic what his dad is doing by yelling racial slurs at Jackie Robinson. Our kids are going to mimic what they see. Fair or unfair, we are on display every time we're in front of them. And sometimes even when we're not. The next one is time. Invest your time with God, family, and friends, even in the community. It'll show them how they should invest their time as well. The next one is value education. And this is 100% inside dad world, right? Get your education. Not only that, seek wisdom. Encourage them to seek godly wisdom and prioritize that where it should be. The next one is volunteer. Use our gifts and encourage our kids to do so as well. Many times my family and I would go serve in the community, whatever it would be, soup kitchen, second harvest, passing out food to homeless, whatever it is. I wanted to show them that we should invest into other people, into our communities. The next one is don't be lazy. Dads, I get it. You put in a full 40 or more. Maybe around this time, you're being expected to put in a full 60 or 80. When you get home, there's nothing you want to do more than to just crash on the couch. I understand that completely. But as a parent, I could tell you with 2 grown sons, you will only have a certain number of years to actually parent at that perspective. You're going to get older, they're going to move out, be men of their own. Utilize that time wisely because that is always fleeting. Don't miss a window. The next one is stay healthy. And this is one we all kind of probably fall a little short in. Not everybody is a world-class runner, or if you are, congratulations. And if you're in CrossFit, I'm sure everybody around you knows it, but not everybody is like just 100% healthy. Eat well, be active with your kids. Maybe you both could have them join like maybe a soccer thing or maybe baseball or basketball, and you coach it. That way at practice time, you can get a little activity in there too. And the last one is emotions. So this one here is one aimed right at men. One, don't be a fool with your emotions. And the other is don't be a robot. So you don't need to be a fool. You don't have to go and act like a fool every time you're in the public eye. You're at a restaurant. You don't need to be the center of attention. There's no show. There's no awards being passed out at the end of this thing about what you've done there. And then don't be a robot either. You have emotions. You can show them. Your kids will learn a lot from how you handle your emotions. Help them deal with theirs because they're going through things and they have emotions. And if you don't help them handle them, they will find some other way of doing it. And this list could go on and on because the role and tasks of a dad and a mom seem to be endless sometimes. But as you can see, some of us may have work to do. Again, there are guys out there that are killing this list. They focus on this list all the time, and they are great, godly men that do well at this. And then there's some of us that need to work on some of these areas. And there's some out there who don't even know there's a list to be looked at. So a good telltale is if you can look at this list and you're slam dunking everything, you may need to raise the rim. You have forgotten that it's been lowered, and you need to raise it up to where it should be and aim for that. And you can flip this over to that rim at the proper position is being Christ-like. We may have lowered the mark of being more human-like than Christ-like. And so we've gotten used to our human goals, our human agendas, our outlook on things, and we're just killing it. That's because we've used ourselves as benchmarks or other humans as other guys as marks to shoot for. Let's set our goals on Christ. So each week we always give you scripture around this topic. And the first one is Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Psalm 103:13. As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. In Proverbs 22:6 says, start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. We also have always in our sessions, we have a truth and grace section. Truth is you will get out what you put in as a parent. There are men out there that gave up a long time ago and let their wives take care of everything. Then there are men out there who are tremendous godly examples of being a dad. Psalm 103:13 says, as a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. And the challenge is, I challenge both you and I to pray for wisdom that God always guides us to be the dads we were meant to be. We don't want to look back on in regret in a missed opportunity because we have shot for an easy mark. So that's our little segment this week. We also give you devotions, articles, and videos. It does no good for us to just come in here and give you a bunch of information about a topic if we're not going to help you apply that. So our devotions, our articles, and videos, this list is already in the description of the video. But our devotions, we always do 3 of each. Our devotions are role models, father figures, and honor your father. Our article is 3 ways you can ensure your children know you love them. Dad, you need to be active in your children's lives. In fathering the storm. In our videos are Dad with a View, Are You Even Paying Attention? Seeking Godly Counsel, and the Dad Example. Are you a good one or a bad one? Like I said, all 3 of those areas are already in the description of this video. Just click on the links below to expand that and view it. Be sure to follow us, subscribe to this channel. We're trying to grow that time or that subscribers, and hit the notifications so that you can get notified when we go live every week. And we'll be starting to do some other video type content because we're about just past halfway through our Holy 90 reading plan. So when that finishes, we're going to be releasing some content we call 3-in-1. And so be on the lookout for that. And once again, I hope that this resonates with someone this week. Every time we do this, I always get an email after it about how this hit someone right where they needed to be spoken to. And so again, this week, I hope this helps set a perspective. We never want to shame anybody. We want to encourage. We always want to talk with truth and grace. Sometimes truth hurts. Sometimes truth is a challenge, but it's always grace to be had. So if you follow us all the time, hopefully you're already doing some of these things. But if you're new to seeing us live, if we've ever been a blessing to you in some fashion, please consider purchasing a membership at $25 for the year. We even have a monthly option now too. And sign up for our newsletter. We send out information on our newsletter once a week with kind of like the most recent blog article, the most recent video like this, our most recent devotion, and sometimes information around the app. And so you can follow us on social. We're active on Facebook. If you have not joined yet, we have our Uncommon page. We have an Uncommon community. And if you are a member, there's even an Uncommon member group. And so if you don't know much about the membership, check it out because there's some member-only features just for you. So thank you for your time. I hope that this is beneficial in some fashion. Nick, since you're the only one who commented here, you get a shout out. Thank you for your attendance, bro, and your support. And like we always say, every week when we end this, since you're going to be something, be uncommon.